Welcome, travelers, to episode 25 of the Time Travel Trio podcast. I'm Jen.
I'm Hyde.
And I'm Matt.
And we're the Time Travel Trio. Matt, what'd you pick for us today?
Today we are covering the 2006 Adam Sandler movie, Click.
Yay!
Yeah!
Said no one ever.
Criterion Collection movies here.
First of all, apparently this was nominated for an Oscar for Best Achievement in Makeup.
I see that. There's some pretty decent makeup work in here. I mean, it didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's properly aged, and so did, I mean,
Yeah,
I was surprised.
that's true.
I was
He did look
surprised.
older.
I was surprised at how good Sean Astin looked older because that looks pretty accurate.
Yeah, like some movies, they'll be like really cartoonish with that makeup. Like certain people's skin will look all deformed and stuff. But
Yeah, they did good, like with spots on their face and stuff. And anyway, that just distracted me. So this movie obviously stars Adam Sandler, Christopher Walken, and Kate Beckinsale are also in it, as well as a cameo from Jonah Hill,
Sean Astin,
David Hasselhoff, Henry Winkler,
Terry Crews.
Terry
Crews. Being very Terry Crews.
Very Terry Crews.
But if you don't know, this movie description is a workaholic architect finds a universal remote that allows him to fast forward and rewind to different parts of his life. Complications arise when the remote starts to overrule his choices. So I have to preface this episode by saying, back at summer camp, way before 2006, might I add, we did this skit, or we had a skit night that everyone had to have an invention of something. And we invented the remote for life that you could fast forward, pause, and rewind through moments of your life. So I'm just going to throw it out there that Adam Sandler stole this idea for me. But I'm just saying, that's all I ever think of when I see this movie.
That's so funny.
I invented it first. Okay, anyway. Thoughts. How'd you guys feel? Have you seen this movie before?
Yeah, I saw it on TV many years ago, probably Comedy Central or whatever, one of those channels. It was just one of those movies, you have it on Saturday when you're doing other work, and I'm just, in and out of watching it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's some parts I saw it, and I'd laugh, or I just kind of watch it, and, that's not my first time watching it, and I watched it again, and I didn't have, a negative reaction to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it on TV somewhere, or on DVD. I didn't see it in theaters. And I watching it again, I realized I don't think I saw the whole movie the first time. Because an hour into it, I was like, wait, this isn't the end of the movie? There's 45 minutes left? This is all I remember. So I don't know. So I guess I didn't see the whole thing. But I saw enough to get the gist of it. I feel like it's pretty obvious what it's about. But I don't know if I laughed when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because watching it again, I remembered scenes, but I was like, I don't think I found that funny. And I didn't laugh this time around, so I don't know. Maybe I've just grown past the Adam Sandler kind of movies.
I definitely know what you mean. I definitely have seen this movie before. Probably more than once would be my guess. Something like on TV. I don't know, it's like one of those movies that you just have seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's always on, it feels like.
Yeah. You don't really pursue it, but it's just kind of there. Although we pursued it for this episode. But
hunted it down.
Yeah. I didn't hate this movie, but by the end I just was like, oh yeah, now I remember why I don't ever really want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
You know? So with that, let's check out the trailer.
The most awesome force in the universe, the most powerful device ever created, is now in the hands of one man.
Cool. You wanted a universal remote. That remote controls your universe.
For me to do those documents, it's gonna take me months.
And you better get started.
Wow, I got a big headache.
You do?
So I can re-experience any part of my life I want to.
I heard a song playing on the radio this morning.
We have a song?
The song that was playing during our first kiss.
What the hell was that song? Oh my God. Get it? That's my boy. Linger was playing during our first juicy kiss. You look beautiful in that pink sweater.
Honey, you remember what I was wearing?
I love you.
I love you too, honey.
Yeah. Skipping the shower and skipping getting dressed. And looking sexy. I like that.
Have you been drinking, Daddy?
The remote.
Making up.
Click it.
Is that my parents?
They're making you.
Get me out of here!
Takes control.
This thing's broken. It's fast forwarding on its own. What else did I
Adam Sandler.
You look a little pale there, pal. Let me fix that. Don't get the Hulk angry. You won't like him when he's angry.
Click.
Plants cat?
Yeah, but your kid stinks.
Ah. A regular Derek Jeter right there.
Do you like how they gloss over very quickly the big drama in this movie that like he can't stop it from fast forwarding after it like has this memory? So like in this movie, if you haven't seen it for some reason, when he first gets it, he can fast forward through whatever he wants, and but then the remote has a mind of its own, or it has like a memory, and so every time, like for example in the trailer, he skips his shower so he doesn't have to like go through the process of getting ready, and he can just already be ready by the time he's done fast forwarding, and so the memory in the remote stops it. That happens every time he's going to take a shower.
Yeah. And he does it when he's sick, so whenever he's not healthy, it skips, and that's probably the biggest.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, is that he has a cold, I think, when he first gets it, and so he wants to skip the cold, like fast forward to when I'm not sick anymore, and so like when it fast forwards through years of his life, and he's older, he has cancer, so he skips like 6 years of his life or something.
And also for a promotion too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff like that, but it like gets really heavy in this. Like it starts off like fart jokes and like throwing baseballs at kids' heads and whatever. Yeah. Every typical Adam Sandler movie.
And then it gets
so serious, so heavy, and really depressing.
Yeah, it's just really heavy-handed morality tale. Like not since The Christmas Carol has a movie been this heavy-handed in its morality.
It's.
And it's funny you say Christmas Carol because like when I first saw it, my dad and my brother had seen it too. My brother was like, "Yeah, the ending's really sad." My dad saw it and he's like, "Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a modernist and Wonderful Life kind of thing." Mm-hmm. Like he wants to skip over all of his problems and just like get to like him being successful so badly. He like forgets everything else. Obviously, It's Wonderful Life is a much better movie with a much better morality tale, even though that's also, when you break it down, It's Wonderful Life is a heavy morality tale, but it's done in a way where you appreciate it better. Plus, It's Wonderful Life, the morality tale, everyone forgets, it's like the last 30 minutes of the movie. Yeah. The rest of the movie is just a human drama.
Yeah, it's not like this.
Like, this is like...
From minute one, you have to know that Adam Sandler is a dick.
Yeah, he's a workaholic who hates remotes. That's his whole personality.
He hates remotes. He hates paying attention to his family. All he cares about is getting promoted, and he works for a dick of a boss.
Right.
And that's pretty much...
Who actually learned the morality way sooner than Adam Sandler did. Well, not way sooner, but like he like leaves the rat race. He's like, I'm out of this. I'm going to go relax with my wife,
Right. It's, I did actually there were a couple good moments. Like, in the barrage of Adam Sandler 2090s comedies. And like I would say somewhere around a little after I don't know, somewhere around a little after 2002, Adam Sandler started to get like this very formulaic Adam Sandler type film. Mm-hmm. He's made some really good ones. Click is not, I would not call Click the bottom of the barrel.
No, it's like in between like, the period where he like made Jack and Jill, where it's just like, okay, I know what I'm getting into when I go see an Adam Sandler movie.
Right. This is like still like before the shtick had gotten like old.
Yeah.
It was like
the hints are there for sure.
Yeah, like watching it now, knowing what Adam Sandler's comedy is, it's like, But in 2006, the stick wasn't really that noticeable. Like you kind of had a vibe, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is an Adam Sandler movie. Like this is like the first time I think he actually worked with Terry Crews, and now Terry Crews is in all of his movies.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like little stuff like that, like you see start to pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Terry Crews the only person of color in the movie?
I wasn't keeping count.
I was like, was there anyone besides Terry Crews who just was like, being hilarious, like
with a major speaking line?
Yeah,
he was muted, so that's
yeah, I can't think of anyone else.
I can't think of anyone else either.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sad.
I mean, it's clearly about his family.
Poor, privileged adult white male.
Yes.
And all of his hardships with his beautiful wife and his
Right.
perfect children who do nothing wrong, and he has a great job, and all he does is complain about it. Like, fuck you in this movie. You're a giant asshole, and I hate you, and I did not like this movie.
Yeah,
Who
it's
wants
like
to skip over sex with Kate Beckinsale? Who wants to skip anything with Kate Beckinsale?
like at some point you're like, oh, the remote's being mean to him. Like, no, he's just an asshole. Like he like when he's working on this project, his kids brings him like, you know, their plans for a house, and he's like, this is terrible, this is bad, and his wife's like, what are you doing? And like, this is way before he like was being fast forwarded for years.
Mm-hmm.
This is just him just being himself.
Yeah, I'd almost venture to say he's more selfish than Domhnall Gleeson in About Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Domhnall Gleeson's just like one of those like nice guys who thinks he's a nice guy but really isn't. Like Adam Sandler, like he seems a little aware that he is being like an a-hole.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Maybe he's aware, but he doesn't see it as necessarily a bad thing. I think.
Right, that's true.
He still does it. It's also a trope now in all Adam Sandler movies. He has like the hottest women in love with him every single movie.
Right.
Like no matter what.
Yeah.
They're married to him. They're in love with him. I don't know.
And like, I mean, obviously I like Kate Beckinsale, but in this movie it could have been anyone. She's just playing the wife.
Yeah, they didn't really give her enough personality to make her interesting. Like, I kind of sat there and wondered why she fell in love with him in the first place. And
Well,
like when she leaves him for Speedo guy, I'm like, I don't even blame you. He's actually nice to you.
Yeah.
Like, listens to you. You should be with him instead of Adam Sandler from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I miss the Adam Sandler movies like The Waterboy and Happy Gilmore, where I really bought the relationship between him and the love interest. Like, as silly as, like, Happy Gilmore or Waterboy is, particularly Waterboy was a great example. Like, Vicky Valancourt is not some supermodel, but to Ricky, his character, she's like the most beautiful woman in the world. And you buy it. You buy the relationship. You buy that there's an attraction there. Fast forward to a movie like Grown Ups, where somehow Adam Sandler's married to Salma Hayek.
Or, what's the one with Jennifer Aniston when they're in Hawaii?
Blended?
No.
Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah,
When
his choice is Brooklyn Decker or
Jennifer Aniston. Like, come on.
What?
It's absurd.
Brooklyn Decker, who is probably like 20% Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, is somehow in love with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. And it's like this, but she sees no one but him. Her character doesn't notice any other guy except for him. Oh my god!
Cole
Anyway,
Kidman's
that's
Just
a whole.
Go With It.
And
then the weirdest.
Just Go With It is not that bad of a movie. I definitely like it more than this. It's like it's a fun guilty pleasure movie.
I feel yeah.
This is not that. Anyway, back to Click. I honestly I didn't hate this movie, but I just didn't like his character so much that it distracted me from trying to enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, his plight's important. You need to care for him because the whole movie hinges on you caring that he can make it right.
Yeah, and I just didn't feel sympathetic for his troubles. I think all of his shit he brought on himself, and he didn't, like I put in my notes, like, he doesn't deserve to have this power.
Yeah.
Like, even though Yet, like, messes up his life and ultimately kills him and then doesn't, but I just felt like he doesn't deserve this. Give it to someone, like, Christopher Walken's line is like, the good guys need a break sometimes. I'm like, he's not a good guy.
Yeah,
he's not the type of guy who deserves a break. He's someone who should be fired from his job and have to take care of his family himself and learn a lesson that way, not have to skip over all of his hardships and learn a lesson that way. That's like giving a schmuck more power.
To play devil's advocate, perhaps that's the point.
Yeah. Maybe Christopher Walken is like, you know what? He's a bad guy. He needs to learn a lesson before it does go down this route. Like maybe he just said that to like convince Adam Sandler to trust him.
Like play to his ego. Because I mean, when you think about it, do you feel sorry for him or do you feel sorry for his family at the end of the movie? Like I feel like one of the top 3 best scenes in the movie is the scene with Henry Winkler trying to like connect with him, and he just like cusses out his dad pretty much.
Yeah.
Like that's actually a really good scene. Mm-hmm. And it's like you don't really feel sorry for Adam Sandler's character. You feel sorry for Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, near the end of the movie, you find out that Christopher Walken is the Angel of Death, and so,
we gotta talk about that.
shocker. But, so it's like, I mean, maybe the whole movie is, like, that angel or whatever, Christopher Walken's character being like, you know what, I'm going to change this guy to make him that he's good again, or, like,
but
actually
if
cares.
Yeah, but if he's the Angel of Death, that would not be what he would want to do. That's what I don't understand.
I know.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
it didn't make
true.
sense to me. Like I don't disagree with you, but him being the character of the Angel of Death, it's not like he also has some good conscience on him as well. Like he's the Angel of Death. He's not like a human being.
Right.
He doesn't have like a multitude of emotions and like trying to, teach someone a lesson. He just wants people to die. He wants to kill people. So I don't understand how that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me why he was the Angel of Death. He could have just been an angel.
Yeah.
And it would have made sense.
I know. Well, the whole question is like, I mean, at first, obviously, when he goes to Bed Bath & Beyond, before he realizes the Beyond part, he lays on the bed, and you're like, okay, well, this whole thing's a dream, and you
Which
find
I totally
out.
wrote in my notes.
Yeah.
It was all at the top of my notes. It was all a dream.
It was all
Yeah.
a dream.
Is it all a
It
dream?
was all a dream. Yeah.
And so you find out at the end he wakes up on the bed, and it's like, fine, he can now change his ways. But then at the back of the house, he gets the remote again, and so that's like, okay, maybe it was real. So it could have all just been a dream, but, because he was taking that cough syrup. But at the end, he got a note that said, like, here's the remote again, do you want to try it? And he's like, no, throws it away, and that's the end. So, I don't know. It's kind of like...
I just pictured, like, some garbage man finding it and then,
Right.
like, following his life as he goes through this, and the cycle just, like, continues with this remote.
You know what? It could have made this good, and you still could have kept Christopher Walken. You could have made it more like kind of like The Mask from like the comics and like, the Jim Carrey movie, where it's like this kind of like, you know what? They should have made Christopher Walken. They should have made him Loki, because like The Mask is the mask of Loki.
Yeah, he's a trickster.
Like make it like
Yeah.
a trickster thing. Like he's like
Yeah.
he wants to give you a chance perhaps to learn a lesson, and he will let you go back and like start again. But for him, the amusement and the entertainment is seeing your life fall apart. So he's like, yeah, whatever. I don't
The
care.
trickster god.
Yeah, which didn't make sense why he was like, well, I didn't want to have to take your dad, but it's part of the, And I'm like, since when is an Angel of Death, like, someone who feels guilty about killing people? What?
Well, one of my guilty pleasures is Ancient Aliens, and according to that theory, all the angels are actually extraterrestrial beings who want to affect humanity.
Oh.
Okay, but then why would he put...
I'm just joking.
But,
That's
like,
a
why
joke.
would he put... I just don't understand why his title is Angel of Death. That doesn't make sense to me.
That's part of the whole morality thing. Like, the morality is like, he's the angel of death. It's like a shocker moment, I guess.
Yeah, it's just
But it's like now he learned a lesson, Adam Sandler. He's like, no, now I'm going to be dying, I guess.
Nothing like being on death's door to make you reevaluate your life.
Yeah, right? Okay, so time travel, obviously he travels using this remote that he can pause, fast forward, and rewind and like go through moments of his life.
Yeah, his body stays in the present, but his mind like jumps forward, so he goes into autopilot.
Yeah. Which is something we had referenced. Was it X-Men, maybe?
13 going on 30.
Yes, that's
Okay.
what I'm doing.
And X-Men too. Yeah.
And X-Men. But it's the idea that he's still there, he'll still respond, but he's not very lively. I think Christopher Walken explains it like, you're at the party, but you're not the life of the party.
Yeah, it's in the
kind of
clip
a thing.
actually we have.
Okay.
This is that scene of Christopher Walken explaining kind of the fast forwarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. You must have been on autopilot.
Autopilot.
That's what happens to you when you fast forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
See, that's you on autopilot. The lights are on, but nobody's home. The remote lets your mind skip around, but your body actually stays put for all the boring stuff.
Honey, we should go to lunch tomorrow and get your dad's birthday gift.
Sounds good. So she did tell me. I'm having conversations on autopilot then.
You're not going to be the life of the party, but yes, everyone goes on autopilot now and then. The big difference is now you've got a nifty remote to help you decide when.
You know, this thing's the best.
Yeah, he basically explains what we were just saying, that he's an autopilot, which I think creates complications, that he can have these conversations, but he doesn't have the memory of them.
Yeah, no memories of it. And that's...
He doesn't seem very perturbed by it either. Like,
Well,
he's
Like,
like,
I
the-
don't really talk
yeah.
to my family anyway,
Like,
so
right
what the
af-
hell do I care?
Right after this happens, he then fast forwards to like a whole weekend. Like, he then just like, all right, whatever, let me just fast forward a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
He cares, because that's what I'm saying. He's selfish.
Yeah.
He cared more about getting through his work projects than he did about communicating with his family at all.
He would literally mute people during a fight. Like when his wife's fighting
Yeah.
or when her friend is like yelling at him, he just mutes
I
it
found
and
that
it's
really
like...
offensive that he muted
Yeah.
the women.
I mean, that's...
And Terry Crews.
Yeah. The women and
and the
people of color.
only
That's...
person of color in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of the stereotypes right next to, like, the ginger turd who gets always, shat on. And
Yeah, which never... I thought that Kevin O'Doyle, the neighbor who he always is, like, a dick to... I mean, he's a dick to everybody. He's even more of a dick to this kid. This kid is kind of like an asshole, but he's, like, 10.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you're like, it's not that big of a deal, Adam Sandler,
Right.
be a grown-up. But that never paid off. I was, like, expecting, maybe an older version of him to...
Right.
Like, come
like,
back. And,
to work with his son, maybe
Yeah.
when his son. I don't know, but it was just like once
It's just-
he fast forwarded through their kid's childhood, it was like he wasn't there
I
anymore.
mean, it's just because he's a ginger, that's all. It's like, oh, let's make fun of the ginger. Like, that's kind of like a stereotype that...
but it wasn't necessarily spelled out because he was a ginger.
Yeah, but they casted the kid because he's a ginger.
No, I know, but it wasn't like you're a ginger, so I'm going to throw baseballs at your
Yeah.
face.
I mean, yeah, obviously he's a jerk, but...
He's just like, whatever. It's the kid being mean to my kid, so instead of having my kid learn a lesson about how to handle bullies or
Yeah,
do anything, I'm just going to have the ball hit the kid's face.
yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what adults do.
Apparently.
But yeah, so in that clip also we saw that he can visit the past, but he can't change anything. So he can revisit moments that some of them he can revisit. I guess he can revisit all of them that he was there for, but he can't change anything. He can like just see it happen again.
Yeah, he's like there as an observer.
Yeah.
Which I like, actually. I like that he can fast forward to the future because it hasn't happened yet. Or, like, when he's there is when it is happening. But it kind of feels inconsistent because, I don't know, if he went to the past when he did have the remote, like the clip that we showed, it, like, shows him in autopilot.
Yeah.
But he already... Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm
like,
saying it properly.
him and Autopilot had the remote somewhere.
Yeah, so I guess I don't understand how when he rewinds to after he's already gotten the remote that he isn't present there, but instead he's still watching his autopilot. Like, it would make sense to me. I don't know if that sounded really confusing, but it would make sense to me if when he went to the past before he got the remote that he was an observer. But if he went to the past after he got the remote, he was actually there.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I guess it's kind of like...
Because when he goes in the future, he is there. There's
Yeah.
like an autopilot version of him.
I know. It's like, I mean, so the remote has a mind of its own. It kind of puts him wherever in the future he needs to be, so that he's like conscious again. But before that point, it's like it's writing history. Once it's written, he can't change it. You know? So, but the remote can make you revisit it, but it's already written down, so he can't, like, so he's observing it as it happened, I guess.
Yeah.
Regardless of...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I was thinking about, like, all that time travel, and I get what you're saying, Jen. I guess I always just took it as, like, I mean, he's really just... It's, like, almost like some sort of, like, weird vortex kind of thing. Like, because he can, like, just make it so his dog goes.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, it's almost like, I just thought, like, it's remote. He's, like, viewing stuff. So when he gets into his consciousness, it's only because he's basically pressing play. If that makes sense. Like, if he's rewinding and playing back, he's just playing on repeat. And then if he goes fast forward, but he's fast forwarding and he's not trying to fast forward to actually watch it, just to fast forward to get there,
Yeah.
then it's going to skip through and then he press play and he's like, okay, now I'm going to be conscious in the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's not consistent.
Well, what's weird is that whenever it does fast forward, he doesn't experience it, like, as it's happening to him. He wakes up kind of in the future,
Right.
like, what's happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like things fast forward around him and it's almost like he is standing
like
still and everything else is like moving forward.
Yeah, it's like an X-Men where, like, his consciousness then he wakes up in his body and he's like, whoa, what's happened? Where am I?
Yeah, but
Right.
he doesn't have the memories
Right.
of the things he skipped.
Yeah.
Which I guess creates a lot of the drama in the movie. So, like, once he starts skipping forward years, you know, he has to try and figure out,
Yeah.
okay, what's happened in my life?
His
Why
wife
am I
divorced
not
him.
with my wife? I mean, duh.
He's
You
fat.
literally are on autopilot for, like, 15 years, like, your wife, and you skip through sex and, like, Like, I just, yeah.
I mean, yeah, speaking of that skip through sex, it's that fast forward he experienced. Like, he hit fast forward and then he experienced it, and then after done, he was like, oh, that was great. And just like, that was like a minute.
Not necessarily. He could just fast forward until he's finished, and then he just wakes up and feels that feeling.
I see, yeah. Okay.
So it's not necessarily that he experienced
it. Was like autopilot to her, but to him it was like, wake up and I did it. I'm finished.
Yeah, but it's like...
Which is what it's like for most women.
Yeah, like...
Yeah!
Like, I just mean, he fast-forwarded through it, doesn't necessarily have the memories of that particular instance, but when he is, done and hits play, using your, description, he, like, immediately feels what autopilot him was feeling at that time.
Yeah.
Which is the climax.
Post-coital.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're here all week, people.
Hi, Mom. Okay. So that's kind of how he uses the remote. The remote starts to build a memory of its own, as technology does in movies. So the rules of it, we kind of talked about it. He can fast forward, he can pause, he can rewind through his own memories.
Yeah, it's almost like a DVD of his life where there's commentary by James Earl Jones, which I thought was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a making of, which
I just wish that commentary was a little bit more consistent throughout. It like happened once when they first introduced it, and then it was like only one more time. But it would have been much better if it was like throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It just was like a weird, tiny joke.
So we kind of that's how it looks like to him, I guess, when he like revisits the past. There's a menu we can select. You can change the volume of, or you can change the volume of the world, which is how he found out that it worked outside of TV, because like he used it to mute his dog or turn down the volume for some reason, and it worked. Mm-hmm. Like, what was the thought process for him to pick up the remote and turn the volume down on his dog? Like, did he want it to work? Did he, like, as a joke, be like, turn you down, and oh, wait, it worked?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we've all done something silly like that. Like, you think, like, you're about to use the Force. Like, you're playing around, like, the Force opened this door.
Yeah.
And, like, once of it actually happened, you're like, oh, so snap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like, and Adam Sandler's character is mechanically, like, not nice to anyone.
Yeah.
Why does he even have a dog?
I know, I don't understand that either. It's probably just another example of him trying to buy his kids' affection. Here's
a dog, kids. Take care of it.
Yeah.
I hate everything about this dog, but, whatever.
Yeah. He's such a schmuck. I just can't get over how unlikable his character is. Like, his goal for the first hour of the movie is like, I want to get this promotion, and it takes his boss longer than expected for him to promote Michael, Adam Sandler's character. But then it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't... By the end of the movie, I didn't feel fulfilled by his journey, I think. I couldn't find him relatable because I didn't feel like he had enough human emotions to, like, be complex.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, like... Because, like, when he gets back, I think the problem is his life is great anyway. Like, he's complaining about very petty stuff.
Yeah.
Like, to use an example of another movie, 2 movies that use this, Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, that talk about, like, someone, like Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge has a horrible life. Yes, he's rich, but he's miserable.
Yeah.
And he's probably about to go to hell. So, him getting a second chance on his life feels much more satisfying.
I agree. It's
a Wonderful Life, when George Bailey just wants to get back to going to jail. Like, he just wants to exist again. Like, he's not like, oh, I wish I could get back and just start over from the beginning. When they send him back, he's about to go to prison. The only reason he doesn't is because the town comes in and gives all the hard-earned money to keep him from going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was ready to just be like, all right, I'm going to jail, but at least my wife and kids are not like psychopaths living in this dump of a city.
Yeah.
So, the reason is Ebenezer Scrooge and George Bailey's, when they get to the realization, their desires are still it's unselfish what they want.
Yeah.
His is still just like, I want another chance to just start from the beginning and make this right again.
So my wife doesn't leave me, and so I can, spend more time with my kids. But it doesn't feel like I didn't feel like, oh, I wanted his character to leave that job.
Right.
And like, but there wasn't anything else that he was passionate about. But, like, You know what I mean? I
Right.
felt like that would have been...
Besides Twinkies, I guess.
Yeah, what a weird... There was so
Well,
much product placement in this movie.
Yeah, but that's also to set up him being fat. Like, a lot of stuff we see, everything's set up as like, oh, he likes Twinkies, he's gonna be fat, you know, and like...
Yeah, but there was a lot of blatant product placement of things, though.
Mm-hmm.
Bed Bath & Beyond is the best one because, honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah, that one is fine, but it was... Yeah, there was a lot of it. Consequences. So...
no memory.
He
It
doesn't
hijacks his life, kind of.
Yeah, it takes over his life, more or less. But what I do like is that consequence of it taking over his life is his own doing.
Yeah.
It's his choice of what he skipped through, and it's just being consistent with it.
Right.
Which I actually like, that idea. But it does ultimately kill him. What I don't understand is why his son was still so devoted to him after growing up with his dad that way.
I mean, maybe he always wants his approval, and since he's on autopilot, he won't get that, so he keeps trying to impress him. But by following in his footsteps and being an architect, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some dad logic there, I guess.
I guess. I just, he was just so emotional at that scene when Adam Sandler's dying outside the hospital that it's just like...
I feel like if it's your dad and you see him dying like that, you're probably going to have some emotional reaction. You have to be pretty stone-hearted. Yeah,
but think about, and I'm not saying you wouldn't be sad. I just mean, thinking about him growing up. The little boy that we see in the beginning is maybe 10.
Sure.
It's not, he won't grow up having a ton of those memories.
Yeah,
how many memories do you have before you were 10? Not that many.
Right, that's a good point.
So he grew up with this autopilot father, barely there, never paid attention to him, always did his work. Personally, I think his character would have been more resentful, not trying to win his affection.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Maybe just a writing choice.
Yeah, I guess it could go either way, psychologically, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
His daughter was more what I think would be natural.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I have 2 dads. It's fine.
Yeah. She tolerated him, and it was fine, but she wasn't, devoted to him or anything.
Yeah.
Because the other guy was probably more of a father to her than he ever was.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the daughter, the young version of her was actually the daughter in the Time Traveler's wife. So she's been the daughter of 2 time travelers.
Ooh. Ooh, maybe she'll have a secret trilogy of her own one day.
Yeah.
And the oldest, did you realize this? The oldest version is the girl from Arrow.
Katie Cassidy?
Oh my gosh.
Right? Is that her name?
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I did not recognize that.
It's Laurel.
Really?
Yeah. It's just because her hair is really blonde. Yeah. So fun fact. But Arrow doesn't really have anything to do with time travel. Not really.
Well, besides being the Flash.
Besides the Flash, time
She's been on the Flash once.
And the writers probably needing a time machine to fix some of their issues. Well, that's not
Sorry, Greg Berlanti. We still love you.
We love you, Greg. Don't take any hard feelings.
Please come on our show. We would love to have you.
You're awesome.
Anyway, so those are the big consequences, which are pretty major, and there is, more than one. But the actual physical act of time traveling, there is not a consequence. He doesn't have headaches or anything. He's not nauseous. But other than that, science. Any science to this?
Well, okay, so obviously not in the way that they portray it, but you can technically fast forward you can fast forward Earth technically if you fly off on a rocket really fast, such that your clock slows down to people on Earth, much like Planet of the Apes. You can fast forward Earth and then come back to a future Earth, and you haven't aged much. You can't separate your brain from it so that you were involved and your body was there and you're an autopilot, but you can fast forward Earth to you, I guess you can say.
So you're saying there's rocket capabilities inside of this remote?
It rockets his brain somewhere and then puts it back in his body. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a lovely image.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Bed Bath & Beyond, Matt. Is there more than to Beyond?
What is the Beyond?
I always look, Jen and I, we go to Bed Bath & Beyond frequently.
We do.
I can tell you it's not in the candle aisle. I'm always there. It's not there in the candle aisle.
He's a big candle fan.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was funny too that Christopher Walken's character is named Morty, yet he looks like Rick from Rick and Morty with his lab coat and the crazy hair, and he's a crazy scientist.
Yeah,
and he's named Morty.
He was very much channeling Doc Brown.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess obviously Rick and Morty does too. But
Yeah.
it's just funny that he's named Morty and he looks like Rick.
That is funny, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do an episode of Christopher Walken guest starring now.
Yeah, it is very much. It does take from Back to the Future, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship, some of those ideas, revisiting the past,
and I guess Doc is Angel of Death in the movies.
Sure, yeah. Well, technically, that actually kind of checks out.
Yeah, I was like, that's a really good theory. Someone make a fan theory about that.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the fan theory of what was the other one we asked for? Oh, the X-Men Zootopia.
Yes.
Was it X-Men Zootopia?
No, 12 Monkeys.
12
Monkeys,
in
sorry.
Zootopia.
Yeah.
12 Monkeys in Zootopia, like that they're connected.
Yeah.
That this becomes the future.
So obviously this device, this remote, is relevant to the story.
It's
creating the time travel, creates the drama, creates all this stuff. But, it wasn't how we're used to seeing time travel, where someone typically gets into some sort of a machine or has some sort of a larger device that they more or less step into, whether it's Back to the Future in a car or like a big machine like Looper or something like that.
Sure.
So this one is more just connected with the actual person who is holding the device.
Yeah, it's kind of like 13 going on 30, like with the magic wishing dust. She just wakes up in her body 17 years later.
But it does kind of feel like the device, once you have, chosen it and like it's yours and you've taken it, that it belongs to you. Like he
can't
says,
get rid of it.
It's not like he types in like take me to when I was 12. He like says it out loud, like show me my first kiss. It's like almost mentally connected to him somehow. I mean, obviously that sounds ridiculous, but it is not a robot. It's just a remote. So that's that. Clothes and sets. I did want to mention when he goes to 2017.
Yeah.
There's a few things. First of all, his daughter's a teenager, does have like the blue streaks in her hair.
Yeah.
Very on point.
That's
that is
true.
Very
They did
big
get
right
that
now. That is definitely on point. Although there isn't as much like silver mesh cutoff as a lot of older movies think that our time period has, like very silver, like space station.
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, Back to the Future 2, that's all it was. It was all silver, futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciated, actually, because,
yeah.
Please stop doing that.
Yeah. We're not going to be that way.
We're cutting holes in our yoga shirts.
Yeah.
We're not going to have clothes that are more restricting in the future.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. In 2023, we saw when he was fat. That was 2023.
Oh, yeah.
There was some hologram stuff.
A lot more technology-based, advances. Although in 2017, he's, like, driving to his house to see his wife, see what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
On the radio, it mentions Britney Spears has her 23rd baby with Kevin Federline. Oy.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson cloned himself and then was suing himself for molesting himself.
Yeah, that was kind of like...
Oof.
That was an oof. That was some low-hanging fruit, for one.
Yeah.
And two,
pun intended.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the easy targets of 2006.
Yeah, but still, like, ooh, yeah. Even if Michael Jackson was still alive, that's still kind of...
Yeah, it's in
still
poor
a
taste.
rough joke, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, his son in 2017 is a Jonah Hill cameo.
Yeah.
This is like the very beginning of Jonah Hill's career. So
Two-time Academy Award nominee,
Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, who has a hard time getting up off the couch and makes a crack that people think he looks like Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
But, that's fine. Yeah, 2023 is just a lot more technology. It's, very stereotypical future movie.
Was that when his son got married, or was that... No, that wasn't that yet, right?
I don't know.
That was later on in the future. Because, like, his wife had, like that wedding dress. I don't think any time period would have that wedding dress.
Oh, yeah, it was really ugly.
With, like, lights all on it, and she had, like, a hood for, like, a veil, I think.
You know, I said it was like someone took those LA Fitness shoes, and, like, LA Fitness now makes wedding dresses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. I was like, that's what's going on here. Someone finally did it.
That's funny. Yeah, It actually looked like a dress that someone wore to the Met Gala this year. I want to say it was like Katy Perry or someone like that. It actually had like LED lights sewn into the dress.
That should have been the dress that Mila Kunis wore in Jupiter Ascending. When she should have worn that dress, and I would have been like, finally a good moment in this movie.
But alas, there was none. Any other clothes and sets you wanted to talk about? Yeah, not really.
Yeah,
it was pretty linear from like it went from like kind of futuristic to more futuristic, but it was all kind of the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, surprisingly, for someone who looks as like youthful as Kate Beckinsale, they were not able to make her look any bit younger.
Yeah, she looked just as hot,
like
regardless of her
age.
Yeah, but like when
regardless of her hair color that they gave her.
Well, he means when she's younger. When she's, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when she's younger, when they
had their kiss.
Like when we watching that scene,
she looks the same age, yeah.
But also, when I think about it now, Kate Beckinsale, somewhere around Van Helsing, she just hit that like, this is how hot I am, and she just stayed there.
Yeah, and Van Helsing was like 10 years ago.
Right, Underworld, Van Helsing. Like, the Move trailer for Underworld just dropped 3 days ago. She looks exactly the same.
Well, it's funny, like, in those movies, like, she's the hottest girl ever in those movies. Like, I don't know what they do. Maybe it's, like, the lighting or something makes her look like she's the hottest. It's like Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, when you see her in that movie, you're like, oh, well, she's the hottest girl ever.
Right.
You know?
Right. Kate Beckinsale is in a movie with Yvonne Strahovski. And you still are like, well, Kate Beckinsale's clearly the hottest woman.
Yeah.
No, and I think Yvonne's a very beautiful woman. And yet somehow still Kate Beckinsale is just like, I'm Kate Beckinsale. Coming out from the clouds. Married to Adam Sandler, architect. Also, writers, screenwriters. Is there any aspiring screenwriters out there? Stop making your heroes architects and writers. Stop doing it.
We've had to say this multiple times, and it's starting to get annoying.
Like, we've done it for sure with the Lake House architect. And probably 2 of the movies that we've covered so far in this podcast have had architects.
It's just so easy.
It feels like.
There's definitely more coming up. I'm pretty sure someone's an architect in Kate and Leopold.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
brother, right?
Yeah, the brother's the architect.
Mm-hmm.
He's the architect because the whole thing about the bridge.
Or he's a writer. Oh, yeah, the bridge. Mm-hmm.
And then writing.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone actually know an architect? Like, I've never met an architect.
I know 2 architects.
Okay.
But let me tell you, man, there are not that many. And 2, writers always use architect because there's only 3 professions that writers understand.
Yeah.
Writer, journalist, and architect.
Yeah.
They understand no other professions. They don't have any... I love when in movies their favorite thing is if they don't really know someone is, they'll say they're a consultant because then they can just make them super rich. Like, oh, I'm an image consultant. Or I'm a consultant. Mm-hmm. And they're really rich. Like, what?
It's probably just an easy way to, like, give someone a desk job, but have them still be creative. So that they're not just like a desk jockey, you know?
Right.
Yeah, but it's still... Yeah, I'm with you. That needs to stop.
Please stop doing it.
We saw Keanu Reeves as an architect, and we should have learned our lesson. But alas. Although, was that movie after this?
I think Lake House came out after Click.
Okay.
So...
Well then, that's even worse. So, would you guys want to experience this time travel?
As Adam Sandler did?
As Adam Sandler did.
Thanks.
In that life.
Living that life? Do I have to share his personality?
You are him.
You gotta live it to a T, buddy.
Can I just...
Nope, no man.
Alright. Well,
what were you going to say there?
I was just going to be like, can I just experience the time where he's like watching
like,
women's breasts in slow motion?
You're going to say that or having sex with Kate Beckinsale.
Why would I choose the scene of women's breasts in slow motion over having sex with Kate Beckinsale?
Well,
I would not skip over that part.
You would if you lived it as he did, you would fast forward through it. You wake up in bed next to Kate Beckinsale, just having had sex with her, but not actually experiencing it.
Yeah.
No,
and if you want to see boobs bounce in 3D, or not 3D, but in slow motion, just watch this movie again. And
there you go.
Do you have to watch the movie again?
Anyway,
well, there is the internet. So.
I would not want to experience this time travel because it does ultimately kill him.
Yeah.
And so, you wake up and then you have to, I think in 13 going on 30, you would want to do it because, well, maybe, because you wouldn't have to re-experience everything to get to the point where you went back. Mm. But like in this movie...
Well, in my theory, you do.
Well,
I was just saying, didn't Matt have theory because of time rip? And
so we don't have to get into it again.
Yeah.
But, listen to our 13 going on 30 mini episode to hear our theories. But I just mean in this movie, he didn't obviously experience everything in like the 40 years ahead of his life. But
what he did was all bad.
He did experience some of it, and it was all bad. And it's, you know, he will change is the idea, but, you know, he still's gonna know what he looks like, but...
And he knows he's gonna get cancer soon.
Yeah, that's,
that's
true. That
true,
won't
yeah.
change.
That's not gonna change. He's not gonna change that. So he knows cancer's in life. Unless he starts eating better, maybe he can...
No, it was brain cancer.
Oh, it was brain cancer,
Yeah, because he had a scan when he hit his head.
But he still lived through that.
Wait,
Yeah.
but
Oh, no,
how
but
many
he
years?
didn't.
How
Well-
many years did he wait before he got the brain scan?
Well, he was sick for like 6 years, wasn't it, or something? I don't know. There's
Yeah,
something
so
sick.
if he does it now, if he goes to the doctor's office now, maybe it'll be a lot more operable.
Yeah.
That's true. And he wouldn't have necessarily died. He only died because he, like, unhooked from all the things that were keeping him alive in the
Right.
hospital.
Right.
Because he had to tell his son
Because his heart
to-
was failing, I guess. Because he
Yeah.
had a heart attack.
Yeah. Anyway, don't eat Twinkies, people.
Yeah.
Moral of
but,
the story.
I mean, so obviously I wouldn't want it to be like he did, but if I had a remote that can pause time, I would like to use it. I wouldn't want to fast forward anything. It'd be cool to revisit the past, I guess, but yeah.
I'm going to pass on revisiting the past.
I mean, yeah, just to see it, I guess. Certain moments. Would
But
be
you'd
kinda
only
cool.
see your own life. You can't go
Yeah.
back to, like...
That's fine. I mean, there are some moments that I like to see again. But yeah, just to pause it. That's all I would use it for sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Other notes. Trying to see... We talked about James Earl Jones.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people in this movie, like Rob Schneider was being an offensive stereotype of someone from the Middle East, which
that
is
was really
pretty
offensive.
standard for
Yeah.
these types of movies.
There was that homophobic comment a little bit. Did you guys catch that when it was like a sexual harassment seminar or something? And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
David Hasselhoff was talking about if like
There's
a
male on
male coworker, but he like says it in a kind of offensive way.
Yeah, well, he's like, and there is male on male, but ugh.
Yeah.
He like makes some...
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's his character, obviously. That's, you know.
Yeah, I mean that one I didn't really take because his character is not meant to be a likable, sensitive person.
Yeah.
So I didn't think of it. Not that Adam Sandler's always had the best track record with homosexual jokes, but also to be fair, on the flip side, he also did I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, which is one of those like balanced movies where it's like imbalanced movies where it's like it's supposedly progressive for gay rights, but at the same time still giving into all the gay stereotypes. So you really don't know how you feel about it. You're
Yeah.
like, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the soundtrack was pretty on the nose, I would say. There's like Love Isn't Always on Time, Tears for Fears, who I love, but their song Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It's like every song in this movie is pretty like on the nose.
Yeah. I did like the leprechaun analogy that Christopher Walken makes, that like he's talking about the leprechaun and Lucky Charms maybe on a cereal box that's like trying to reach the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I mean, it's a pretty heavy-handed analogy.
Yeah.
But, and then once he gets there, it's just
You're trying to
at the end
reach
of the
the
rainbow.
No,
pot of
there are
gold.
some good moments in this movie because this cast is full of really good actors. So there are some good moments sprinkled throughout the film, which makes it not like an unbearable film.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just seems so pedestrian. It just seems like, I don't want to say people are phoning it in, because I think people were having fun doing the movie. I just feel like it was just so like, how, you get this cast together for this movie, and it just seems a little strange. Like, the cast is very weird named cast. Like, when you actually like, put them all down on the list, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Also, side note, this has bothered me watching it. I watched it yesterday afternoon. When he goes crazy crotch kick to Sean Astin. Oh, like, let me tell you, as a guy, there are just certain things you just don't do. That's one of them. That's one of the meanest things he does in the entire movie. Like, do you know how much that would hurt?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he kicks him like 3 times.
Yeah, hard.
Like in that scene too, he writes a note that he couldn't give to Kate Beckinsale, but then he wakes up after having his head hit, whatever. That's like 6 years later. But when he dies, he still has the note on him that he wrote
that
in
didn't
that scene.
make sense
in
at
the
all.
rain, that it wasn't drenched. It got drenched when he took it out, but it wasn't wet when he was laying there. Like,
Yeah, it
where
was-
was it at when it was there for
Like in
6
his
years?
butt crack or
plus?
something?
His protective body fat suit kept it dry.
Yeah.
It was in a flap or something, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It
Like,
was
gross
very-
scene.
Yeah, I thought that was weird,
Preserved
too.
by his sweat.
One thing that I don't like in movies that this movie did a lot was, what are these insane jobs that have these insane expectations? Like, yeah, there's jobs that have high expectations of their employees, but jobs like this that have insane expectations that you're not even allowed to have time with your family on the weekends or like on a holiday,
Right.
you're like, it just goes so extreme that like you hate this job if you don't work 24/7 on a holiday, whether you're supposed to be, you know, at your son's wedding, you know, whatever, that they just expect you to constantly be working and thinking of absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, and
It just
he's
doesn't
an
make
architect.
sense.
How much architecture work? Architecture is not like a burn-in, burn-out job.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point of architecture.
It's like, it's a long time span of things to be completed.
Right, he's not a stock trader. He's
Yeah.
an architect.
Yeah, it
He
doesn't-
literally
it
says,
bothers me.
put windows in this.
He's not the one building it, so
Yeah,
like,
right.
what the hell does that be? Yeah, anyway, so that was something that bothered me. Did you guys have any other notes?
Nah.
No?
No. that's
Okay.
it.
So final reviews. This felt like it went by fast. I'll start.
We've had a couple long episodes.
Yeah.
That's good.
This movie, as we said, I didn't hate it as much as The Sound of Thunder, I think, but I didn't like it. So I'm going to give the movie a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. Some moments were a 5, some moments were a 1. So, yeah, averages out to a 3.
Actually, 3 sounds about right. Yeah,
Cool.
3. Yeah.
3 it is. Time travel rating. I did like their use of time travel. Their rules weren't always, I didn't feel like they were totally consistent or logical in their world. But I did like, you know, the constant use of it. And I like the idea of the autopilot. That's something that we haven't really seen before much. So I do like that.
Yeah, like they address it. Some movies just say, you're in the future now, but where was your body that whole time?
Like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to give the time travel a 5 out of 10, actually.
Okay.
My time travel's a 4 out of 10. Like, for kind of similar reasons. It is thought. They do put some thought into the time travel. Like, this isn't just thrown in there just for the sake of, like, let's make some funny jokes. Like, the time travel does have, like, some logic to it. And I appreciate that. It answers some questions that are, like you said, are not usually answered in time travel films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on those points. I'll probably just settle on a 3, you know, just because it is kind of like his brain gets sent forward, you know. So obviously it's not scientifically accurate, and so in terms of trying to be consistent, I'll stick with the 3 for the time travel as well.
Cool. Okay, so our next episode is my choice, and I picked the 2003 wonderful movie Paycheck. If you've never heard of it, I'm not surprised, because I feel like not a lot of people have seen this movie, despite the fact that it's Ben Affleck. But I love it. I don't know why, but I do love this movie. It's a little bit different than stuff we've seen. It's more, you know, future viewing, and then kind of seeing if you can change time instead of necessarily like traveling through it particularly. So it'll be kind of a different take. This movie, as I said, Ben Affleck, the idea is what seemed like a breezy idea for an engineer to net him millions of dollars leaves him on the run for his life and piecing together why he's being chased. So we'll see if maybe an engineer lead is different than an architect, but
Reverse engineer.
I have a feeling that it's probably not going to be that different.
I mean, at least in like time travel movies, you expect to have an engineer somewhere in the mix because it's, you know.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. I've seen that movie a number of times. Have you seen that movie?
I've seen it about 2 or 3 times, yeah. So I haven't seen it in a long... Last time I saw it was like with my parents on video, so it's been a while since
Have you ever seen this movie?
This movie completely escaped me up until we started in the podcast. I didn't know it existed.
See, that's what I mean.
I had like no idea what it was until I saw a trailer for it earlier today. So,
one thing I forgot about Click, we didn't do the Rotten Tomatoes. The Rotten Tomatoes percentage, 32%, average rating 4.7 out of 10. So
that's about right.
You and I were close. Consensus: this latest Adam Sandler vehicle borrows shamelessly from It's a Wonderful Life and Back to the Future and fails to produce the necessary laughs that would forgive such imitation. 66% of the audience liked it. But that's a 3.4 out of 5 rating.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty standard for Adam Sandler movies. I feel like it appeals to a demographic that would like it, so it's not always panned, but it's like, in certain circles, people just usually shit on it because, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't start getting panned movies until around like Jack and Jill. That's when he started like, really hitting.
Well, even that's kind of late in the shit on his movies.
That's true.
Franchise, because I was like, oh, another one.
Yeah. I mean, none of his movies are super well
I think his highest rated movie is Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, I did like the movie with Jon Stewart, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
That was pretty good.
Big Daddy. And Adam Sandler has good movies. And Spanglish, I think, is one of the best. It's such a great film, and Adam Sandler is terrific in it. He can do good stuff. It's just that I think he almost prefers just to do what he wants.
Yeah, and be the same character in all his movies.
Funny People is another good movie.
Yeah.
To see for Adam Sandler.
And I mean, like, I've met him a couple times at Sony when I was working there, and like, he's a nice guy. Like, I've seen him play basketball. Like, he helped someone out that got hurt, and like, so he's a nice guy. But I feel like he does kind of lean on.
Yeah, that would be kind of a dick
standard.
if he saw someone get hurt and then just stood there and laughed at that.
No,
He
yeah,
fast
I know.
forwards.
Well,
He fast forwards to this, like,
Bye.
Well, I mean, no, he like knew to ask to like get some help. He's like, hey, call this person, and like he like made sure they had water, and like he covered him in some shade. So he's like actively helping him out. So
Okay.
Yeah. And my aunt's met him a couple times because when she was coaching up at Pepperdine, he would come on the court.
Yeah.
And she said he was really nice.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So next episode, 26, will be Paycheck, Ben Affleck, Uma Thurman, Aaron Eckhart, Paul Giamatti. It's a decent cast in this movie, so I'll be interested to see what you think, Matt, since you've never seen it. So that'll be fun. Directed by John Woo.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. I haven't seen it in a long time. I haven't seen it since I was in high school.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay. Our social media, we are at Time Travel Trio on Twitter and Instagram, and we are the Time Travel Trio podcast on Facebook. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. So follow, rate, subscribe to us on all of those. And personal, I am at Jen Marlis on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm at Foreman in Space on those things.
And I'm at Robinson is Hyde.
And with that,
We are out of time.